In the next 10 minutes, we're going to explore something that is both profoundly human and incredibly rare to witness. I've spent the last month with my team scouring thousands of hours of footage to find 10 of the most impactful and respectful examples ever recorded. These aren't just clips, they're stories. And today we're going to break down exactly what happened in each one. This video is unlike anything we've ever done before, and it's something you won't forget. What you're about to see is real, and it's intense. We've made sure to handle each of these stories with the utmost respect for the individuals and their families. We're going to go frame by frame, explaining the context, the science, the human element behind these final seconds. So, get ready, because we are counting down the top 10 final moments before death caught on film. We're not just watching these clips, we're analyzing them to understand what we can learn. This is not for shock value. This is about understanding, remembrance, and the stark reality that these recordings represent. Make sure you watch until the end, because the last clip is one of the most powerful things I've ever seen. Viewer discretion is advised. Our first story begins high above the clouds, on what seemed like a perfectly normal flight. The aircraft, a Trans-Asia Airways and ATR 72-600, was on a short domestic route, flight GE 235. On board was Gary Slock, a 15-year-old boy traveling with his mother. Just after takeoff, excited for the trip, Gary took a smiling selfie. The photo is time-stamped minutes before the disaster, a moment of pure, unsuspecting joy. The aircraft departed Taipei Songshan Airport at 10:52 a.m. The selfie shows them smiling, cabin lights glowing, other passengers visible behind them. There is absolutely no indication of trouble. 3 minutes into the flight, something went horribly wrong. Flight data later showed the right engine flamed out. In a critical error, the crew shut down the still-working left engine. The pilots lost all power, and the aircraft began to descend over the city. The selfie became the last known image of them alive. Multiple dash cams on the Huandong Viaduct captured the final seconds. Gary Slock and his mother were among the 43 fatalities. We now turn to the world of extreme sports, specifically base jumping, an activity where the margin for error is virtually zero. Our subject is a seasoned jumper equipped with a helmet-mounted camera that would document his final jump. Before he leaps, the footage shows a routine preparation, checking his parachute rig, looking out over the vast canyon below, giving a thumbs up to a fellow jumper. The sky is clear, the wind appears calm, conditions that would seem ideal for a successful and exhilarating jump. The location is a popular but notoriously challenging cliff in the Swiss Alps. The jumper's helmet cam gives us a first-person perspective that is both breathtaking and terrifying. As he pushes off the edge, the ground rushes away, and for a few seconds everything seems perfect. The critical moment happens approximately 8 seconds into the jump. The footage shows the jumper reaching to pull his pilot chute. However, something goes catastrophically wrong. Instead of a clean deployment, the parachute comes out in a tangled, unrecoverable mess. The helmet cam spins wildly as the jumper's body begins to tumble uncontrollably. The final seconds of the recording are a disorienting, rapid succession of images before the abrupt and final impact. This next piece of footage comes from a device that has become increasingly common in our daily lives, a driver's dash cam. The video begins on a multi-lane highway at night. The road conditions appear to be good. The asphalt is dry, visibility is clear, and traffic is moderate. The driver of the car with the dash cam is traveling in the center lane, maintaining a consistent speed and a safe following distance from the car ahead. Everything about the scene is utterly normal, a routine commute that millions of people make every day without incident. The timestamp on the footage shows it's just after 9 p.m. The dash cam captures the steady stream of headlights and taillights, the mundane reality of nighttime driving. For several minutes the video is uneventful. The driver is listening to music, the car is performing as expected, and there are no immediate or obvious hazards present on the road. Suddenly, from the rightmost lane, a large commercial truck attempts an aggressive, unsignaled lane change. The truck driver appears not to see a smaller sedan in their blind spot. The truck clips the rear of the sedan, sending it spinning out of control directly into the path of our dashcam driver. The entire event unfolds in less than 2 seconds. There is no time for the dashcam driver to brake or swerve effectively. The spinning sedan fills the entire windshield view, a terrifying and unavoidable obstacle that has appeared out of nowhere. The audio recording captures the driver's sharp, involuntary gasp, followed immediately by the deafening sound of the collision. The screen shows a violent explosion of shattered glass and twisted metal as the two vehicles collide head-on. Chapter 4. This footage provides a rare and harrowing look into one of the most dangerous professions in the world. It comes from the body cam of a firefighter responding to a multi-alarm fire in a large abandoned warehouse. The mission, as briefed, was to perform a primary search for any potential squatters, for homeless individuals who might be trapped inside the structure. The body cam turns on as the firefighter and their team gear up, the sounds of radios crackling with commands and the roar of the fire in the background setting an intense scene. The team makes entry through a large, forced-open bay door. The body cam footage shows thick black smoke banking down from the ceiling, reducing visibility to just a few feet. The firefighters move methodically through the smoke, using thermal imaging cameras to navigate the labyrinthine interior. They follow procedure perfectly, staying in contact through voice, staying in contact through touch. The team penetrates deeper, moving toward the heart of the fire. The incident commander has identified signs of an imminent structural collapse. The team immediately turns to retreat, but it's too late. A low, deep rumble quickly grows into a deafening roar. The camera continues recording for a few moments after the initial collapse, now buried under rubble. The firefighter wearing this camera was one of several who did not make it out. Chapter 5. This next recording was not made by a professional, but by an ordinary person using their smartphone. The scene is a busy public square in a European city. The video begins with the bystander filming a street performer capturing a normal, cheerful, urban scene. People are milling about, children are laughing, and the atmosphere is relaxed. The camera pans across the crowd, inadvertently documenting the dozens of people who, just moments later, would become witnesses. Without warning, the peaceful atmosphere is shattered. The audio picks up shouting, followed by screams. The bystander, startled, swings the camera toward the commotion. The footage becomes shaky as they try to focus on the source of the disturbance. It shows two individuals in a heated argument that quickly escalates. One individual suddenly produces a weapon. The crowd, which was just a loose gathering of strangers, reacts with a collective gasp and begins to scatter in panic. The bystander, seemingly frozen between the instinct to flee and the impulse to record, keeps the camera pointed at the unfolding event from a distance. We do not see the graphic details of the attack. Instead, the video captures the chaos and terror of the aftermath. Several brave individuals rush to the victim's side to render aid before police and paramedics arrive. The footage is chaotic and difficult to watch, not because of gore, but because of the palpable sense of helplessness and shock. Chapter 6. We now descend into the silent, high-pressure world of deep-sea technical diving, an environment even more hostile to human life than outer space. This footage comes from a GoPro camera mounted on the helmet of an experienced cave diver attempting to explore a complex underwater cave system in Mexico known as a cenote. The dive plan was ambitious, aiming to map a new, unexplored passage at a depth exceeding 300 feet. The video begins with the pre-dive checks, showing the diver and his buddy meticulously inspecting their complex rebreather equipment, multiple gas tanks, and dive computers. As the diver submerges, the GoPro captures the stunning beauty of the cave's entrance. Sunlight filters through the crystal-clear water, creating ethereal rays of light. But as they descend deeper, the light from the surface vanishes, and the world is reduced to what can be seen in the narrow beam of their powerful dive lights. The narration on the video from the diver himself is calm and technical, noting his depth, gas consumption, and the geological formations he's passing. The critical phase of the dive begins as the diver enters the new, narrow passage. The incident happens suddenly and silently. The diver is navigating a particularly tight squeeze when his rebreather appears to malfunction. The digital readout on his wrist-mounted computer begins to flash a warning. The diver's calm narration stops. His breathing becomes rapid and ragged. The final minute of the footage is deeply disturbing. The light beam eventually stills, pointing into the dark water, and the sound of breathing ceases. The camera continued to record until its battery died, a silent witness to a lonely death in the depths. Chapter 7. This story is captured not by a participant, but by a static security camera across the street. The footage is wide-angle and impersonal, observing from a distance. It shows the rooftop of a multi-story apartment building on a clear, calm evening. For the first several minutes, the rooftop is empty. The camera records the mundane passage of time. City lights begin to twinkle as dusk settles. The scene changes when a figure climbs onto the rooftop from a fire escape, a young man in his early 20s. His intent is not immediately clear. He walks the perimeter, occasionally looking down at the street. He doesn't appear to be in distress. He pulls out his phone, taking pictures or videos, possibly for social media. This is rooftopping, climbing tall structures for thrills and photo ops. The young man walks toward a narrow ledge along the building's edge. The fixed camera records him stepping onto the ledge. He holds his arms out for balance and begins to walk. For a moment, he is successful, slowly moving across. He pauses to take a selfie with the skyline behind him. The fall is shockingly quick and undramatic. One moment he's on the ledge, the next his silhouette disappears from the frame. The camera keeps rolling, an empty rooftop again, as if nothing happened. Chapter 8. This footage comes from a helmet cam mounted on a motorcyclist enjoying a ride on a winding mountain road. The day is perfect for riding sunny, with clear skies and dry pavement. The video begins with the rider starting his bike, the roar of the engine a familiar sound to any enthusiast. He is riding with a group of friends. The camera captures the camaraderie, hand signals, friendly revving of engines and moments where they ride alongside each other, enjoying the scenic route. The pace is spirited but not overtly reckless. The helmet cam gives us a thrilling first-person perspective of the ride. We see the road spooling out ahead, the lean of the bike as it carves through corners, and the beautiful mountain scenery flashing by. The rider appears to be experienced, demonstrating smooth control of the motorcycle and navigating the turns with confidence. For several miles the ride is exhilarating and uneventful. It's the kind of ride that motorcyclists dream of. The hazard that leads to the tragedy is subtle and easy to miss for the uninitiated. As the rider comes out of a left-hand turn, the camera briefly pans over a patch of loose gravel on the road surface, likely washed onto the asphalt from a recent rain. The rider, focused on the next corner ahead, doesn't appear to notice it or doesn't have time to react. The moment the bike's tires hit the gravel patch, the result is instantaneous and violent. The audio captures the distinct grating sound of rubber sliding on loose stones. The rider is thrown from the bike and slides across the asphalt directly into the path of an oncoming guardrail. Chapter 9. This next video takes us to a dense forest during hunting season. The footage is captured by a camera mounted on the scope of a hunter's rifle. The video opens with the hunter moving slowly and quietly through the woods at dawn. The light is low, and mist hangs in the air, creating a challenging environment for visibility. The hunter is in pursuit of a white-tailed deer, and the camera records his patient stalking, scanning the trees and underbrush for any sign of movement. The audio is mostly silent, broken only by the crunch of leaves underfoot and the chirping of birds. The hunter has been in his position for nearly an hour, waiting patiently. He is experienced, and his movements are deliberate. The camera pans across the landscape, showing the dense foliage that makes this type of hunting so challenging. He is following all the standard safety protocols, including wearing blaze orange clothing to be visible to other hunters, though the person he is hunting with is not. This detail becomes critically important. He is communicating with his hunting partner via radio, coordinating their movements. The critical moment occurs when the hunter spots movement in the brush about 80 yards away. Through the scope cam, we see a flicker of motion. In the low light and dense woods, the shape is indistinct. The hunter, experiencing a phenomenon known as target fixation, believes he is looking at a deer. He takes a breath, steadies his aim, and fires. The sharp crack of the rifle shot echoes through the silent forest. Then, a human cry of pain is heard, a sound that is chillingly different from any animal. The hunter's immediate, horrified reaction is captured on the audio. Chapter 10. Our final video was captured by a public surveillance camera in a busy train station. The footage is wide, high angle, and shows hundreds of people moving about during their morning commute. It's a scene of organized chaos, people rushing to catch trains, people buying tickets and greeting loved ones. Amidst this sea of people, the camera captures one individual, a middle-aged man carrying a briefcase who suddenly stops walking. He clutches his chest and stumbles against a wall, then slowly slides to the floor. For a few seconds, the fast-moving crowd seems to flow around him, many people oblivious, caught up in their own rush. It's a stark illustration of the bystander effect, where in a large crowd individuals are less likely to intervene, assuming someone else will. However, within about 10 seconds, one person stops, then another. A small circle of concern begins to form around the collapsed man. Someone is seen pulling out their phone, presumably to call for emergency services. One bystander, who appears to have medical training, immediately begins to assess the man. The surveillance camera records them checking for a pulse and breathing. Seeing none, they immediately begin chest compressions. Paramedics arrive within 6 minutes. They do everything they can, but the man's condition is too severe. The paramedics eventually cease their efforts and a sheet is respectfully placed over the man. Outro, we've just witnessed 10 incredibly powerful and tragic stories, and if you've watched this far, I want to thank you. This wasn't an easy video to make or to watch. Each of these clips is a final chapter, a permanent record of a life cut short. From a simple selfie on a plane to a security camera in a train station, these recordings are more than just data. They are deeply human. They remind us in the most visceral way possible just how fragile our existence is, and how quickly everything can change. My team and I spent hundreds of hours ensuring we told these stories with the respect they deserve. Our goal was never to shock, but to understand. By analyzing these final moments, we can learn valuable lessons about safety, awareness, and the consequences of our actions. We learn about the importance of checking your blind spot, of wearing blaze orange, of understanding the risks you take. These aren't just stories about death, they are lessons for the living, paid for at the highest possible price. So what do we take away from this? Cherish the moments. Tell the people you care about that you love them, and most importantly, be safe. Look out for one another. Thank you for joining me on this journey, in memory of the lives lost. Subscribe for more videos where we break down the most incredible footage on the internet. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.